What comes to mind when I hear the words mental health?
The first thing that comes to mind when I think of mental health is taboo.
I just assume I can get through it on my own and that like showing any type of emotion is weakness.
I don't talk about it that much. I use my friends to get me out of those periods where I'm depressed and stuff. So I use my friends for that, but I don't tell them in any kind of detail that I'm depressed or anything.
I don't really just automatically start talking about mental health. It's not something that is really discussed in my family at all.
I'm Peter Edwards. I'm from Missouri.
Hi, I'm Christine from Pennsylvania.
Hi, I'm Jan. I currently live in Oklahoma.
My name is Dave, and I'm from California.
Hi, my name is Sazi. I'm originally from the Philippines, but I currently reside in Colorado.
Why did I want to join this discussion? And what am I going to get out of it? I mean, after the year that we've been through, and with the things that are happening in our streets, I think this is a time that we focus on getting more people to be in the moment, to know where they're at, and if they need help, to go out and get it.
I guess like that it's okay to share your struggle, that everything doesn't always have to be perfect.
I understand the importance of mental health, and so I wanted to make sure that I had an opportunity just to see what my peers were dealing with.
I have things that definitely struggle with, and I think that we've been brought together at this point in time to heal. You're part of my healing, so thank you.
I decided to participate because hopefully seeing people of different backgrounds, different personalities, seeing them talk about their mental health openly lowers someone's walls just a little bit, where they consider it for themselves too.
I'm enjoying the fact that this is a group of people I've never been with, and we can have this conversation freely and not feel guarded, because I think sometimes we are like that with our family. One of the things that I'm actually intrigued by is thinking about how the past year has impacted me. I seem to fare very well, but I had many people that didn't. And most of those interactions that I had were virtual, like we are today, because my clients are across the country. I wonder, is there anything that really either um, encouraged or uplifted you, or that really made you feel just so extremely stressed out at this time?
So I started nursing school the beginning of 2020. I don't have my family here. I moved to the dorms and I just started school. My first clinical day in the nursing home was when school was already shut down, and they had already shut down the nursing home actually, where people weren't allowed to go in and out. And they were so short-handed that even though the company was telling them don't go or don't let the students in for the risk of, back then that was when all the nursing homes were starting to get a lot of cases, they needed people so badly they were willing to get us in there. And seeing that firsthand, how so many people were lonely, family members that usually visit they don't, and how that affected their relatives really struck home for me. I think that's when I realized this was a lot more serious than even I thought then, which was more than what I would say most of the population was at the time. How about you guys?
I really felt anger. Everything from the pandemic to violence in the streets. And that's really been hard for me. I'm not sure if that actually falls in with the question that Christiane said, but that's the way at least I've been feeling and dealing with it right now.
Peter or Janice?
So for me, my husband was already deployed and he was like on the tail end of it. He was supposed to be coming home, like he was gone for 6 months already. And when that happened, there was no time after that where they could say he's coming home. It was just he's extended, he's extended, he's extended. And something that happened early on is my mom's from the Philippines and she went to visit her family. Well, everything went on lockdown and she literally caught the last plane out to Canada. And then she had to be over there for 3.5 weeks. And then she finally came here. So it's like she was in that high risk category. So I was at home with the two kids and my mom going to the grocery store and wiping down all this. It was just a lot of like stress and anxiety to deal with, like trying to be I guess I rely on my husband a lot. So suddenly I was the sole, like everyone was relying on me. And that was really stressful.
Wow.
I can relate to everybody's stories. COVID, it started really early for me. Actually, it started almost in January of 2020, and it ended up putting me in New York City during the month of April at Mount Sinai and Samaritan's Purse in Central Park. So it had definitely left a mark on me. I've seen a lot of things that most people probably shouldn't see in their life. Um, and the gravity of it is I still carry 2020 close to me. Um, yeah, 2020 hasn't been too kind to most people, sadly.
Fortunately, it feels like it really wasn't. It's weird when people ask, like, that I haven't seen in almost a semester or two or a whole year. They're like, talking about how did you feel during 2020 or just asking how I am. And I don't know about you guys and how you feel about talking about your feelings or your mental health, but for me, I'm still very cocooned on it because I've had a lot of bad experiences with even just writing down experience how I feel and that being shut down or that being negatively impacting me. So, what about you guys? How do you feel about talking about your mental health and feelings and like why? How about you, Peter?
Um, why do I like talking about it? I found that I am one that has not like seen therapy, so I found that simple chats with people can go a super long way with me. Um, just sharing my moments that I had definitely eases me in sharing with other people, even if they haven't shared that exact experience. It can help relate, and then the conversation definitely perspires. And it turns out that normally you'll find that when something like that happens, that there's a lot more people out there hurting than you might think.
In my whole life, I've just always kept things to myself. Like, I don't know. I just assume I can get through it on my own, and that like showing any type of emotion is weakness. Like any type of weak emotion, I guess, like sadness or anger, or any of that. So I would just cocoon.
I don't talk about it that much. I use my friends to get me out of those periods where I'm depressed and stuff. So I use my friends for that, but I don't tell them in any kind of detail that I'm depressed or anything. I just reach out and get a hold of the groups that support me and give me something.
Well, for me, I just find that I'm similar to Dave. I don't really just automatically start talking about mental health. It's not something that is really discussed in my family at all. You had to be strong. There's if you were crying, that was weak. If you were sad, that was weakness. So it was not something that we were taught um, to share or express or even show in any way. So for me, it's just not part of the norm. But having the close friends that I have helps with that because I was able to learn that it's okay to talk about how you're feeling. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to, have some, uh, you know, feelings toward whatever the events that are happening. But that was not how I was raised. So um, it takes a lot to express those things to people.
Um, my question is, with there being a persona of shame to mental health, how do we overcome and be able to tell our stories? I've drawn a blank, to tell you the truth. Well, I'm being honest with you. Like, I'm thinking about New York right now, so I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not here right now.
Were you sick or were you a caregiver?
No, I was a frontline worker. I was sent over there um, April 2nd, so to assist at Mount Sinai there in New York City.
I hope that you know that it would really help, I think, yourself, but also other people if they could understand what you were thinking. I was in the military and I didn't get my act together, my head together, until I finally talked about it. So I hope you learn to not struggle with it, that to go ahead and when people register that something's going on, if you talk about it to them, maybe they'll even get a better understanding of what the hell happened this last year. And I really think it'll take it off your chest a little. Uh, if you can seek professional help, that would even be the best. And, you know, none of us should be ashamed about doing that. None of us.
I think it's important to say our stories out loud because just from Peter sharing his story, me and Dave felt the courage to even talk more about how what we're going through. And I think that's a testament of how when we see role models or examples of what our insecurities are being put out bravely, we feel like when we see them do it, that we can too.
I'm going to piggyback off of that.
What about you?
I was going to piggyback off of it and just say, just from talking with y'all, my own personal experience, it seems like we've all been taught you can show your happy side, but you don't show your sad side and your weak side. And I know even with like my own children, that's something I'm trying to break. Like, it's okay to cry. It's okay. Like, I know I tried to even set up my 13-year-old a therapist appointment, which that is something at that age I would have never asked for. I would have never been asked if I wanted that. Like, so breaking that stigma that it's a weakness to talk about your feelings is, I think, important.
Telling our own story is going to allow others to be comfortable telling their story, comfortable knowing that others have gone through the same exact things as we have. At least allows them not to feel alone. I think mental health issues are cause people to be lonely, set aside or pushed aside in a way because they will isolate themselves because they can't share what's going on with them. So I hope that that's a positive, sharing this and allowing people to understand that it's okay to talk about what you've dealt with, and that it's safe to talk about it, and that there's always going to be support for them.
I do think it's important to share my story because you guys have enlightened me already sitting here, and there's so much of our stories that as we relive them and get them out, it's just it makes a person feel better. It really does.
I have a theory in my life that there are three divisions that I think now, and this is just because of my life experience. There's mental illness, which I had with what I call my PTSD, and you know about other mental illnesses, some of them pretty severe and whatnot. That's separate from what we're talking about right now. I tend to think about mental health and mental wellness as two different things. Mental health is exactly what the question was just now. What do we do? Mental health is what we do on our walking daily life to to keep us balanced and going forward. one mental wellness is just checking. It's a simple, that's a simple definition in my mind. Mental wellness is just checking. Is anything going on? Am I okay? Am I eating well? Am I exercising? Am I depressed? That's just the checking part. But I use mindfulness. And it's something that I learned at the VA when I was working on my PTSD. But I use mindfulness to get myself into a steady point. And I will sometimes stay in that zone 15, 30 minutes by myself, just doing it. So that's what I do to take care of the things that are going on here.
So like I know for me that sometimes I have a hard time expressing my thoughts, which I know is hard to believe here, but English isn't my first language, but I've learned English primarily through prayer and also through songs. So when I feel a certain way and I know there's a song that hits it, I'll just go in my car and just blah, whatever the case may be. And I like that. Sometimes I like expressing emotion through just pictures on my phone. I see something like a rainbow in the sky, or just how I see something in my point of view, and it just gets to me, like it hits something in me. I'll take a picture of it, and then hopefully I could share that emotion or how I'm feeling to others. But that's how it helps me decompress and really make myself feel better.
Well, I found that I usually will turn to nature. So I love to be outdoors. I and when we couldn't really be out, I would really make myself watch documentaries, nature shows, something that was beautiful. One thing that I do almost every single day is I find beautiful pictures and I share them with people on Facebook. It's just a post that says beauty of the day and it's a picture. And in my whole goal in doing that is I found it uplifting. I'm going to share with someone else just to uh, reset your mind from focused on the problems that you're dealing with.
For me, it is. I do like to work out. Like that's the. I feel like one of the only times where I just concentrate on that. I don't think about my problems or anything else. I'm just concentrated on what that workout's going to be, and I don't have to think. And I think that's why I like it. I feel like that actually helps a lot.
So I became a photographer, and I've been doing pictures since I was in the middle stages of New York since, and it's I've been taking them for about a year now, and they have, like you said, they man, they hit reset on me. Nature, get out, explore. I take pictures of strangers living their life, enjoying things, just enjoying being able to be them in their own. So photography has been something that I have picked up that's definitely helped me along my journey.
Well, I think the stigma needs to stop. You know, that people need to understand that there's a benefit to talking about their story, to sharing what they're feeling, to to understand that they're not weak just because they're feeling a certain way. There is billions of people on this earth, and we're actually all living with the same problems. You know, the impact that this COVID pandemic has hit every single human being in some way, and we have to I think we have to recognize that we're not alone. We're not lower than someone else just because we are hurting or sad or afraid or stressed out or anything. Every single human being is dealing with this, and our at least my hope is that people will reach out because it is it's easy to hide it and continue living the way you've been living, but it's harmful to you. And so I hope that's what my hope is, that people understand, reach out, get the help that they need.
Being depressed, having anxiety, uh, all of the things that go around with what we're talking about. It's normal. It's very normal. I've lived a long time on this planet. And even if you're the most boring life you think, I know that there's a story in your life. There is a time when you were hurting. There was a time when you were extremely happy. All of us, even the most simplest existence, have that thing or things that go on in your life. And it's normal. I mean, it's what it is. But at some point, admit to yourself and make it something that you believe that it's normal to acknowledge your mental illness and get help.
I come from a culture and a profession that I want to go to where the more selfless and generous and helpful you are, the better you are as a person. I I grew up taking care of family members, people that needed me, my relatives, my sister, people that I couldn't depend on. And I was taught to believe that if you want to take care of others, that you need to be okay with yourself and no one can really help you. Like you can't be broken and help others too. But what I've learned, especially through this pandemic and just even people like Peter and Dave, Jan and Chrisanne, that have all had their own experience, and I have the privilege to hear it, is when you take care of yourself, you're helping more people. Because when you're broken, you can't really help others as much as you'd like.
The majority of the people actually care about what you have to say and they're not judging you. They want to hear what you have to say because they love you and they want you to feel better. And so no matter how big or how small it is, because you're important, what you say is important, but they can't help you unless you share it.
That no matter your role, whether you think it's small or large, that you're definitely not too big enough to share your story. That simple acknowledgement opens so many doors, so many alleys, so many revenues of healing that you didn't think that you may have even needed. So don't ever be afraid to just share your story.
Oh, I just wanted to say, like, I was so nervous to do this. This is completely out of my comfort zone. I don't like meeting new people and stuff. And if I do, I usually like to have a safety net, like a friend or my husband or someone. But y'all have been so great and like sharing, like y'all sharing things and being so open. It's just, I'm really glad I participated in this. Like, I love listening to all of y'all and thank you guys for sharing.
We come in this room today as strangers, and I can already tell that we'll be a part of each other moving forward. And I feel truly blessed and honored to even be in this room with you guys. So thank you very much for even just hearing me out. And I thoroughly enjoyed listening to all of you guys, all your stories. There are things that I couldn't relate to, but there certainly was a lot that I could, believe it or not. I could hear it. I could feel it. I could sense it. So for all of you, thank you very much for this opportunity.
Um, I would tell you, as the old sage here, is that in life, you're going to have really bad times, you're going to have really good times, and then you're just going to have life. Nothing lasts forever.
For me, it's just, last thoughts are, you know, make sure that we take what we've learned from each other today and use it going forward. See ways that we can share with others, help each other. We're all humans, so this will be helpful to anyone that we interact with, our loved ones, our friends. And I'm just happy that I got a chance to really learn more about what others have experienced during this year, because, like I said, mine seemed to be okay, but a lot of people had a lot of tough things that they went through.
What can I add? No. I just want to say I've had a lot of unique experiences, and whether or not they've changed my life for the better or for the worse, or just took it on a little detour, I definitely feel very honored and privileged to even just be in this group, because just in the short amount of time we've been talking, I already feel like I've learned something, multiple things, and made many friends that I know for sure I will be keeping for as long as I probably can remember. And I appreciate everyone that's shared their experiences. And it's kind of showed me that just because you're not family, just because you're not friends, it's okay to share moments, vulnerable moments.